There's a New Jersey lawmaker that believes that parents should be punished if kids find their stash. The growing trend of cannabis consumption, or more specifically, children accessing cannabis products, has once again taken the spotlight. Assemblywoman Aura Dunn, a Republican in Morris, is pushing to make it a crime for parents if their children can access their cannabis stash. Although the Cannabis Regulatory Commission already has regulations regarding packaging, Dunn wants to add a twist with criminal penalties tagged as a disorderly person's offense. Dunn says an increasing number of children are gaining access to cannabis products following the legalization of adult-use cannabis in New Jersey. Children are overdosing on edibles, not only because they are legal, but because they resemble benign candies and treats. And the statistics do kind of back her up. The number of poison control calls for children ingesting cannabis has seen a surge, jumping from 73 calls in 2019 to 162 calls in 2022. Further data from the National Poison Data Center points to 486 dangerous cannabis exposures in 2021 alone, with a significant portion of these incidents involving 5. Sounds scary, right? But let's look at this from another angle. The same data reveals that cannabis constitutes as a minor 1% of all poison exposures. And while there can be severe side effects, especially for younger consumers and those who just took too much, there haven't been any documented cases of fatal overdoses. Now, if we compare this to traditional medications, cleaning substances, and even cosmetics, these substances actually have led to fatal outcomes, yet these substances don't get the same call for criminal penalties or stringent regulations. Dunn went on to say, adults should be locking up their marijuana along with their liquor. The same precautions need to be taken because there are similar consequences. Yet a spokesperson clarified that Dunn's proposal doesn't strictly define what easy access or safe storage means. It merely aims to treat cannabis similarly to how alcohol is regulated without any governmental dictates on storage specifics. And it really is just, to me, common sense, folks. I agree that we should be concerned about the safety of our children. However, the challenge isn't only about packaging or even regulation. It's more about responsibility. I can't help but emphasize that the rise in incidents isn't about the attractive packaging. Many of these products haven't even been legal regulated cannabis products, but instead unregulated Delta 8 and Delta 9 items from the illicit market. And it's high time parents understand the gravity of their actions. Leaving these products within reach isn't any fault of the packaging or the product itself. It's poor parenting. Diane Calillo, a leading voice in the New Jersey medical community, summed it up best. For legalization to succeed, safety must be our highest priority. And that's all I've got. Remember, let's always prioritize safety, responsibility, and education. Knowledge is the key to preventing these type of mishaps. I'm Stone Slade, keeping you highly informed on the High at Night.
They're trying to go after the parents in New Jersey, man. They're looking for some revenue over there in that state. They're going to get them.
I think they should take it a step further.
They should
take it a step further. You know, and they should prosecute the stores that are putting out the shit when these kids find it. If they can track it back to a store,
they're not going to be able to do that.
They should punish the stores.
They're not going to be able to do that. That's not real. That's not.
Whether it's real or not, the question is whether that's a uniform application of a policy, right? Do we do that if a parent leaves out a bottle of booze and some kid chugs down some vodka? Do we make Safeway liable if you buy the Clorox and your stupid kid drinks bleach? So when we talk about
you can blame that on 45. They're just trying to get rid of COVID.
No. You know what? A lot of that actually has to do with in regards with legally is the it's the same type of bill that deals with the telecommunications. It's because they didn't. So it's basically because if someone committed a crime and used a Verizon phone in the commission of that crime, then without that bill, Verizon could be in basically a co-conspirator of committing that crime since someone used that Verizon phone. And so it's because of bills like that eliminate that from being a reality.
So basically that's why we can't blame the makers of guns.
Same thing.
The uptick in violence.
Well, I mean, I don't believe that the makers of guns are responsible at all for the uptick of violence. It's the uptick of violence is responsible for people's actions.
But back to your point, Rico,
if the makers of cigarettes You believe the
but
makers of cigarettes are responsible
All
for the
people's
uptake of
actions.
children's
All people's
cigarettes?
actions. People choose to use those things.
But back
Has
to
to
your
go to the
point,
court.
Rico, if a parent buys a gun and leaves it out loaded and a young child gets
Yeah.
access to that gun and harms themselves or others, those parents are held accountable.
That they are.
And so when
Like
we
we just
talk
saw in
about
Virginia.
age-restricted things in the home, things that could
Yep.
create health and safety issues, I don't
Yep.
think it's a stretch to suggest, especially when it comes to edibles that don't need to be decarboxylized, that those are kept stored safely away from small hands, small mouths, so that these aren't an issue. And in these newly regulated adult use states, parents probably need a little bit of education on how to store their stash.
I
Yes,
just
they
feel like
do.
it should be the same thing. I mean, a lot of states, all states have laws for giving alcohol to a minor, and I think it should just fall under that same penal code across all 50 states and make it real easy.
Not Wisconsin.
Not
In
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, you can take
All right,
your
in
minor
40 in
and you
49
can take
states,
your
in
kid
49
you
states,
can take your kid into a bar in Wisconsin and get him drunk. Real shit.
49
Well, and in
states.
Judaism, every kid I know who has a practicing family is a little bit more than tipsy when it comes to those 8 glasses of wine through religious ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my man Matthew St. Germain ain't on with us today, but we can talk about the immortality key and the original Catholic Mass and how they were actually tripping balls. It was all psilocybin, cannabis,
Oh
and
boy.
DMT
Yeah.
mixed in the elixir, getting them drunk. And they actually did see Jesus walk on water because why? They were tripping balls.